Marhaba and welcome to Culture Capsule. I'm Samar Karam greeting you from Abu Dhabi, the capital of UAE. Today's episode is a little bit different. We're going to discuss the culture of preparedness and, to be more specific to you, my audience, how to be ready rather than reacting when it comes to your health in the UAE. Our guest today was on the front lines of this business. He is the CEO of the Amanahyat Institute in Abu Dhabi and managing partner of 7 Shams, focusing on advertising and advising investors and supporting innovation in highly regulated environments. He works closely with global health, biotech, and AI ecosystems. And I'm really looking forward to start this episode as soon as possible because it's going to be very interesting. So welcome with me, please, Mr. Rudi Schmidt. Rudi, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so today I want to start very differently. So I want to start with our first meeting. I prepared myself, I'm going to have a meeting with a German. So it was very concise. I looked at the time, it was 15 to 30 minutes. Let's go, let's start. If you recall, we end up talking for 80 minutes. So honestly, I was really amazed because, that never ever happened to me before. And I worked with lots of Germans before, and we have the time and we finished on time. We start even earlier before time. And that's it. But we had a lot to talk about. So can you please share with me and the audience, how come that your social skills were shaped so differently? Tell us about your background. How did you manage your skills and how your culture developed to be the person that you are now?
That is really an amazing question. Now, first of all, let me defend a little bit the Germans. As in every population, you find different characteristics, be it biological or be it personality traits. So maybe you simply met the wrong Germans. Personally, I'm more the science, math-oriented guy, but on the other hand, I also have a diploma in psychology. I didn't continue treating patients. But let's say maybe I'm more the social guy among the Germans. Someone has also to talk for our people.
All right. And what brought you to the UAE, Rudi?
Basically, I was called by someone who had a desperate need with cohort, with a clinic that has on the one hand special patients, on the other hand a huge cohort to analyze. They also wanted to have some AI data platform and a capital market component in the whole thing. So there are not so many people around the world who have on the one hand that medical and org management perspective, plus AI, plus venture capital.
And you are an Abu Dhabi resident, right?
Yeah.
Before we talk about the country, I'd like to tell you a story about, the Abu Dhabi and Dubai, because it will help me to bring the question more to life. So I was once at the airport and we were sitting in the lounge and there was a lady sitting next to me and she wanted to be social. We need to pass the time. So she asked me, where are you heading to? And I told her Abu Dhabi. And I could find from her, facial reaction that she didn't know where that is. And so I switched to say Dubai. And of course, she realized where that is. So you are a resident of Abu Dhabi. You are the one of the patrons of the Louvre Museum. Can you please share with us the difference between Abu Dhabi and Dubai in a way, and why people don't know much about Abu Dhabi, despite the fact it's considered to be one of the centers of culture in the UAE?
Once again, there are several potential explanations. So Abu Dhabi, of course, I chose because I simply was called to come to Abu Dhabi and then to Dubai, but I knew already both. I knew Dubai for the traffic jam for some other things is a little bit different in the lifestyle. But people know it because mainly the business model of Dubai is more tourism compared to Abu Dhabi. Okay, they also have cruise ships and they have the Louvre, you mentioned that thing, which has visitors 1.4 million visitors last year. But still the Dubai thing is more marketing. Why Abu Dhabi calls itself the capital of the capital, and basically that's also what it is. It is pretty rich. And it goes more after capital. And maybe that's why the average layman knows Dubai more than Abu Dhabi. But I think it has changed now in the last 2 years.
All right. UAE has a first-class health infrastructure. Yet I've noticed recently there are some changes in the intelligence of healthcare. We as UAEan have been trying to build more different system, which is based on more precautions, more prediction. So can you please explain to us what is cooking in the kitchen of intelligence healthcare, and why are we trying to build it on a bigger and higher scale?
Like every kitchen, there is the starters, the main, and of course several mains, maybe, and an undisclosed number of desserts later. So currently, what is cooking in the secret patisserie of AI and healthcare is the data challenge, because you can be smart like hell, you can have an algorithm trained wherever, but if you don't have the adequate data, it's like downloading a Ferrari and then you don't have the gas. That is a problem. No petrol, no engine. And that is currently what people realize again. There was a decade ago something similar with companies like IBM Watson Health, etc., where they were going after data collection and blunder data collection in those ways. And now this time, the next generation of AI data scientists, they are smarter, they have many lessons learned, and that's what they are going for is smart data, and then translate that not into the algorithm works for maths, the algorithm works for people, and that has changed.
Can I interrupt you here for a second? Because you said that it's getting smarter, scientists are learning from their mistakes. Were there misconceptions before in the health system? Like, for instance, lifespan. If we talk about lifespan, has been misconceptions about longevity and what changes your lifespan?
The problem is you are more unique than you may think. So you have already 20,000 genes, but then you're inhabited by symbionts, for example, bacteria in the gut. And they have up to 100 times broader genetic makeup than you. And already that mathematical combination is so high dimensional, is so complex, that it's difficult to catch you as an individual. And that's why it's so challenging to have an overall digital twin. But if you see, okay, we don't have sufficient data, or it's not precise enough what we have collected about you as an individual, then how to find out to which subgroup you really belong. And that took a decade for people to accept that, because initially that AI thing was done by informaticians, maths people, but not by physicians, not by people treating patients in the real world. They already knew in the past every patient is different, and you cannot simply take the lab values once or twice, and then you have the perfect digital twin. That has changed. And that also is, when it comes to longevity, well, for sure you will ask me a second question. There are centenarians in special hotspots called blue zones.
Yes.
And then you try to find what do they share in, or do they have in common, and you struggle a lot. And for sure, you will ask me now.
Why?
Yeah. So let's say one of this blue zone, this hotspot is in Japan, in the region of Okinawa. But then we also, we have Greece, we have Italy, we have Costa Rica. So and they try to find common genetic shares, that one polymorphism, that one genetic variant that they share, and we failed to find that. We found some common things when it comes to lifestyle, walkability, social life. That was what they had in common, plus the oral cavity, oral health that they also had in common. But apart from that, so far we have not found the holy grail of longevity, or some say the Rosetta Stone. So, and that makes it so complex.
But can it help? Can the research on centenarians help in building up better, healthier communities? It doesn't give us any kind of hints or a sort of guidelines, the simplest guidelines, not the sophisticated, of course, guidelines that we're looking for. Hopefully we find that in the future, but does it help?
So the first learning from we didn't find a common trait is don't go for one size fits all recommendation. Don't go for the supplement that promises to work in everyone. So the only thing is, most probably it won't work in you the same way as in someone else. So the conclusion is, spend more time and resources into measuring yourself, into your diagnostics, and then draw the conclusion. And if it's vitamins or other things, just get tested more often. That is the conclusion number one.
I heard you saying Rosetta Stone. So for me, back in the days, I was in the archaeology field. I know the Rosetta Stone, 196 BC, written in 3 languages, hieroglyphics, hieratic and demotic. I've seen 2 of them, the one in Egypt and the other one in the British Museum. What is the Rosetta Stone of aging?
So we have not yet found the Rosetta Stone, but there recently, 2 years ago, or several, maybe in the last half decade, there came up one hypothesis, because what they've sensed is that the average centenarian has more healthy tooth than people in the same condition dying in the 80s or 90s.
In what way?
They have more functioning tooth. It means they still have this, it's still connected via its nerve to the brain.
Okay.
And one hypothesis is they eat healthier and brush their teeth. The other thing is you have more brain stimulation of certain regions that might be important for whatever kind of brain health or prevent dementia. So that is a statistical trait. But if you search what have they in common, they have more healthy teeth, the centenarians all around the world, compared to those who die earlier. So if that is really a pathway, we don't know exactly, but we have some data that suggests if you want to get old, brush after each meal of your 3 meals.
Oh, that's why ancient Egyptians died early. So what about centenarians and supplements?
Sorry, about ancient centenarians? Supplements. Forget it. There is no one size fits all. That is what we know from precision medicine since the last decade, because you have this high variability. You digest your vitamins or your supplements most probably in a different way than others. We talk about bioavailability of those supplements. We talk about what else you have done, you ate before or after or later. You have a different genetic makeup. We know this from drugs. We know from drugs that, for example, some cancer drugs work differently or less good in people from Japan compared to Caucasians from Europe or the United States. So it's the same drug, same dosage, comparable patients, weight, whatever, but they metabolize the drug in a different way. So, and if we see this already in cancer drugs, what makes you think it's different in supplements? And of course, it's not. You metabolize the supplement in a different way. And so far, no one has found a supplement and was able to demonstrate, take that supplement, and you will live in average 10 years longer, 6 years longer, to become a centenarian. If you really go after the supplements, you will find out difficult. If for people that have a condition, let's say ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, where you know they they have difficulty to absorb those things, those vitamins or minerals. There it makes sense for medical reasons to give a higher dosage of certain vitamins. Vitamin D, for example. There it's for sure you go with a higher dosage. But apart from that, for a healthy person, the evidence is quite clear. There is no evidence.
No evidence about supplement. What about heritage, your background, where you come from? You just said Caucasian and Japanese. Do we have the longevity, also your heritage, where you come from? Does that affect your longevity?
Yeah, that is the trap or the hint. In the past, until let's say the last year, several publications discussed that there is no longevity gene and it's not inherited. And they estimated that the genetic makeup influence your age by in between 6 up to 25%. Until last year, some researchers went back to old data and reanalyzed it again. And they came to the conclusion it's up to 50%. So that was a huge shock.
5-0.
5-0. That was a huge shock because for the lifestyle, of course, that means, you may do whatever you want, but because of your genes, you won't become a centenarian. That is not possible to say it in that way. Still, you can become a centenarian, but they found this hereditability thing. And now one asks, okay, if genetic makeup plays such a huge role, maybe the biggest role of all, why you were not able to find the centenarian gene? The most probably it's not one single gene. What we say, there is a name for it, a single smoking gun. So who shot the sheriff? Okay. But it's most probably a complex network of genes and their variants. Now we don't want to have a lecture in genetic science, but maybe we will find this one day. But now we will see that investment into longevity science will shift.
Okay. So if I chose UAE to be my forever home and I want to live a healthy, happy life in the UAE, what should I be for a woman my age? And you know how old I am. So am I late for my plan? What can I plan for regarding my healthcare that guarantee for me a healthy, long, happy life in the UAE?
I will answer your question. But before I will answer your question, I will come up myself with a question, because what is your age? Okay, you were born, there's a certification, you have a passport, fine. Now this is your chronological age. But there's a huge market that lures people into test your biological age. And you can spend a lot of money in testing your biological age. Now, unfortunately, each of these so-called aging clocks finds different results. Even with yourself, even the same clock. You test yourself with an epigenetic clock at midnight, and 12 hours later, at noon, one and the same epigenetic clock, one and the same person can have a difference in between 4 and 9 years. In average, the difference of epigenetic clocks is 5 years. Ouch. And now you may know your so-called biological age, but what is the consequence?
At the same day?
12 hours later.
12 hours?
Yeah. Because you have a circadian rhythm. And that is also with your lab values, you have a circadian rhythm. You metabolize certain things during a certain window of time. Or you produce hormones and other lab markers in your lab report. Not every day, not the whole day at the same level. So Sometimes it depends when you take the sample. And that makes that already adds to this layer of complexity. So that's why there is no easy answer, no single smoking gun. But let's go back. What is even worse? I can assure you that you don't have a biological age. You simply have not one single biological age. There are thousands of people who claim that, my biological age is famous millionaires or billionaires. The only thing I can say, What I know for sure, without seeing his results, the number is wrong.
Yeah, but hold on, sir. Let's talk women.
Yeah.
Women have a biological age. Come on. I mean, I cannot be 60 years old and have a baby, for instance. I mean, maybe one day, but there are also the longevity of women is different than men. So there should be also different studies, correct?
That starts, you have different organs. Yeah.
Yes.
So for example, uterus. The uterus ages in a different speed compared to your spine, compared to your liver, compared to your lung, compared to your brain. That is why I know you don't have one single biological age. Your organs age in a different speed, and that depends on the one hand on your genetic makeup, on the other hand on your environment. I say with purpose, not lifestyle. It's on your environmental influence. And that is something, of course.
Can you repeat this, sir, one more time for our audience? Purpose, not lifestyle. Can we focus the light on this properly and tell the audience what's the difference between lifestyle and purpose in healthcare?
Okay, I said with purpose, I don't talk about lifestyle, but environment.
Oh, okay.
But let me finish that thought. So if you realize that your organs are aging differently, that is the very first useful hint that can change your lifestyle now with purpose. So if your doctor says, oh my God, you have the spine of a young god, but what happened to your liver? Or vice versa. Maybe you did weightlifting as hobby at home in your youth, but you always ate healthy. It might be different. So if you measure the age of your different age of your organs, that gives you an insight what to address as need. Do I really need supplements because those things are a little bit older than my chronological age, or I don't have any issue with that, but I should go after more muscles, which basically is always a good thing to have a good amount of muscles. But now do you see the difference in between male and female people? So you have the menopause thing, you have pregnancy as immunological exception because you tolerate the fetus, and this has with 50% of not your DNA. So you see already this immunological age that differs in between male and female. Right. And you see females have this pregnancy thing, they have menopause as perimenopause and menopause then later. So these are windows of opportunity, and that what you could measure. You should also measure the age of your immune system if you want to see that not as an organ. So that's why I say don't go for the supplement. First, analyze yourself.
So back again to my question, if I want now to try, I have to test myself to see what is going on in my life. It's not a biological age only, it's a history of things. So would changing my place of residency, going from one country to another, be a factor as well in that? Like now I'm living in the Emirates, that's it, that's my place, that's my home. I have to see the factors affecting my life here now. Like if, for instance, if I ask you, what would expats try, what are the realistic factors that can protect the longevity of expats living here in the UAE, what they should do to take care of themselves?
Okay, as I said, each is individual. So with a grain of salt, general recommendation is stop stupid things. So artificial sweetener might be a problem for your gut microbiome. Too much sugar might be a problem for your gut microbiome. All around the world, that is not a location thing. If you are in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, or in Los Angeles, microplastics. It depends on what you eat. Don't eat fast food. So that is something that seems to work almost always. Now, it cannot explain your individual risk, your individual chances. We don't have the data, but as expat, the first thing is just to say, okay, don't eat too much sugar. That is something I have to say when I entered the country. that is more luring, I have to admit. So all those sweets, all those dates, the famous chocolate. Yeah, I had already exposure to those seductions in Europe, but it was a little bit more, I have to admit, in all the marvelous malls. So next thing is if you come from outside the country, but it also is a thing for the Emirati people, that walkability. So what we found out from centenarians is the lifestyle means they go out every day, buy some grocery or whatever, visit friends, have meal together. That is the social life. That's why I would not automatically recommend to leave the country. There is no reason to leave the country, I have to say, because then you sacrifice your social life. One of the strongest predictors.
Yes.
What is a little bit a challenge is the climate during the summer times. So personally, I can handle high temperatures outside very well, but some expats might struggle with that. Then they sit at home or in the office with AC and they don't walk enough. And it's not the gym, it's the routine walk.
The routine.
So,
Options.
yeah,
We need options.
that is,
So, yeah.
so
What do we have as options in the hot days of the UAE?
now, yeah, we had already our conversation before.
Yes.
Personally, I have three things. I hope the other mall people are not angry at me now. Galleria Mall, I like to walk. Yes Mall, I like to walk. And I go to the Louvre every now and then and walk. Not the gym walk, because gym walk sometimes is difficult to maintain as habit, and we see that it's difficult for many people to maintain the discipline over a lifetime.
Correct. And the Louvre offer membership as well. You can do a membership where you can go for free every time and look at the beautiful art and check the exhibition that some people don't even realize that they change it. The exhibition changed every once in a while. There is something new to see and something beautiful to check out.
Yeah. So you don't have to be a patron now. I think you've seen the Patron website. You can also become let's say, a normal member.
Yeah.
And go there. They also have events. They change the program. They have a lot of things. If you have kids, they have programs for kids. There is a kids exhibition, which does not mean there are kids are exhibited, but it is prepared for kids from the way how things are explained. XYZ. So I would recommend go to the Louvre. Now recently what has opened the Sheikh Zayed National Museum, which I would recommend if you are a company bringing an expat on a sea level, at least, it should be mandatory for this person to get a guided tour through our new National Museum. And it's not because of the falcon wings on the roof. It's just to understand a little bit about the young history of the country and the way people solve that. So for some, when they have a dispute, they start to say, "Hey, brother, let's find a solution." And then they sit together. And if it doesn't work one-on-one, then it's a bigger group. This consulting thing was even in the foundations of the country. That's how it was built, because basically the father of the nation traveled through all the Emirates that were by this time separate, discussed the idea of being united. And that is how it works here.
Exactly.
That is the search for a solution that works for everyone in a way it's acceptable. It's not the perfect solution for everyone. It's not a 100% thing, but in the end, everyone says, "Okay, I got it." And that kind of consensus is rare to find nowadays. If you watch,
Indeed, it is. Yes, I agree 100%.
Go for the social life, learn that. Go to the two museums. Go to the Louvre for regular walking, because they changed the program in a good cadence. So we'll always find something new.
We even sometimes, if we don't go to the Louvre, we go kayaking around the Louvre. It's beautiful, especially on full moon. Wonderful view of the architect.
The architecture is amazing. That is clear. And when I compare the Louvre in France and Paris with the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, for sure the Louvre in Paris is huge and large, and your walkability thing in theory is good, but it's first of all it is.
You cannot do it in one day. Impossible.
Yeah, it's okay. Nevertheless, I personally, after being in both locations various times, I still prefer the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. I have to admit, it's more handleable for me.
That's really something. That's a very special testimonial. What money can't buy in healthcare?
What money can't buy in healthcare. That resonates a little bit to what I'm doing right now, evaluating life science companies that are seeking investments already. They have already a proven business model. They want to scale. And there are plenty of billionaires all around the world, but of course also in the Emirates that have, let's say, the hypothesis is I have way more dirhams than lifetime. Now I'm searching a deal. And this is okay, why not? So some try to invest into supplements, into whatever thing. Others try to find the Holy Grail and finance that. So money can't buy is basically, for a longevity researcher, is recognition of the scientific world, but that is not what your audience might be interested. Basically, it's your lifestyle and your habits. So, but even that, you may be able to buy a trainer who is capable to change your behavior. So basically, when it comes to lifespan, currently money can't buy more years. And even if it won't be more than 6, and that doesn't mean it's healthy, but you should improve your health span. And that is something money can buy. If you want to do something for the greater good, as well as for yourself, many things in longevity are not yet researched. And there is a longevity foundation, longevity science foundation. And those are people that do, in their main business, they invest into life science companies that are, for example, close to commercialize certain interventions in life science. They earn a lot of money. They are pretty good in identifying the right target. That is what we call due diligence. But then there is some part of science that will never earn money. But without that insight, most probably we will never find the Rosetta Stone of longevity. And that is what the Longevity Science Foundation is doing. They are going after science that is basically necessary to make a reasonable effort to improve the outcome in the end. But first, we have to find out more about the foundations of aging, for example. And now this foundation doesn't promise any return on invest. It's philanthropic. But it makes sense to support them, because if you really want to have the chance for you or your kids or your grandkids that one day someone might find something that really helps to expand the lifespan and the health span, so it's healthy and old, most probably there's a good chance that someone built the foundation for this who was funded by the Longevity Science Foundation.
Thank you very much for all your clear answers. And now we come to the last question of the podcast. And actually, I don't ask that question. This is a question that builds bridges and communication between guests who are visitors to the UAE, residents in the UAE, coming for business in the UAE. And it's always a culture question. So my previous guest asked you a question that I hope that you can answer. And then I would like you please to ask a question to our next guest. So the question is asked by His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Dominican Republic, Senor Renzo Herrera Franco. He is the ambassador again of the Dominican Republic for the UAE. And the question is, what is your contribution to strengthen the unity at the workplace now between different cultures in support of the progress of the UAE?
surprise. So, okay, he's talking about the workplace, but I say, so I also asked myself, what can I contribute apart from working here and bringing some things that it's difficult to find somewhere else. And I found that in bringing people a different perspective. That's why I bring my teams always to the Louvre and now to the National Museum, because here you can compare different cultures, often dealing with the same challenge or problem or topic in life. And that gives them a different perspective. On the other hand, it unites them because they realize, oh, all our cultures have often similar issues, similar challenges. And in the past, they solved it like this. And sometimes the solutions are quite similar, despite those cultures are separated geographically, 10,000s of kilometers, or by time, or both. And if you go with your team there and talk about that while they're in front of the artwork there, that improves the unity for everyone. If it's an Emirati, or if he or she is from India, from the Philippines, or a Caucasian from Ireland, UK, California, Greece, or Finland, you name it. And this experience, that improves typically unity in a team, and also the way they interact with people outside the organization.
And now, Rudi, please, your question to my next guest that neither of us know him, only our production team.
Okay, here is my question. And that is the following one. Imagine yourself in 20 years. And now imagine you would have the chance to ask yourself, your future self, about one decision that you have to make, or you anticipate you will have to make, or maybe you made. And that would be interesting to know. What would you ask yourself if you could meet yourself from in 20 years?
Thank you very much for a really wonderful time. I enjoyed our conversation very much, Rudi. I hope also that our audience and listeners have enjoyed this episode of Culture Capsule. And thank you for your time, and see you for another episode of Culture Capsule from the UAE.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.